Okay, y'all. I think I found my doppelganger. Melanie is married to another comic. His name is Brian Posehn. He's so funny. He's such a lovely guy. But I'd never met Melanie before, and I met her today, right before we started this podcast, and I cannot believe that we are actually the same person. It's kind of bizarre. She manages other comics. She's not Brian's manager, but she manages other comics. And we talk about being married to a comic. We talk about how she became a manager, about her trajectory from high school to where she is now. We talked about parenting just a little bit with a comic and kind of our philosophy on marriage. And it was just a great conversation. I swear to God, she was like, I felt like I was putting words in her head that were coming out of her mouth. It was bizarre. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I enjoyed it very much with Melanie Truhett-Posehn, Brian Posehn's wife. Get yourself comfortable first.
All right.
How are you going to sit? You can put your feet in the seat. You can do whatever.
I'll sit like this.
You look way better like that. I'm just super lazy.
Well, I don't want to look like a little fat toad.
Well, you would never look like a fat toad, but
you know what I'm talking about.
Always go. My belly kind of concaves in and everything just to the top and whatever. You know what? I'm 52.
Yeah,
I look real
I'm right
good for
behind
52.
You.
Right?
I think you look amazing.
You look amazing too.
Thank
for
you.
right
I'll be
behind
51 in March.
Yeah. So yeah. What are you supposed to look like at this age?
I know, but I always tell people, I'm like, I still haven't lost my baby weight. He's 13.
It's so comfy, though. It's so comfy. Keeps you warm. I hear ya. I ain't lost mine either. Everything changes after that anyway. I'm assuming you've podcasted before.
You know what? I haven't. I've only done, one of my clients asked me to do his Ron Funches.
Yeah.
So I know.
That's it?
My second one. Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Who are you? I
know.
love you already. Like at first sight. I just met you now.
Aww.
But you're married to a comic.
Yeah, Brian Posehn.
Yes,
Yeah.
who's so funny.
He's very funny.
I don't know him.
No, that's okay.
But I really like him.
Yeah.
You know?
He's just, I call him the gentle giant, because he's 6'7".
He's 6'7". I knew he was tall, but that's
and I'm
real.
5'3".
And you're my grandparents were 5 feet and 6'4".
Really?
And when you walk in a room like that, everybody's like, "Whoa!"
It's amazing.
Yeah,
yeah. We're like little people, and they're like giants.
Yeah,
His mom was 6 feet, and his dad was 6'8".
Oh my God!
And they met at a tall club. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Amazing.
A tall club.
Mm-hmm.
And
the
fell
Golden
in love.
Gate Tip Toppers.
I love it. The Golden Gate Tip Toppers.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Does that club still exist?
I don't think so. But I think somebody should start it up again.
They should.
Yeah. I think it was harder back then for tall women, especially.
For tall women. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
It was harder in our age for tall women too.
Yeah.
Probably not as hard as his parents' age, but still.
Yeah, I think people still had like a thing about it.
My friend Kathy's 6 feet, and she always just kind of tries to fold in, and I'm like, God, if I had half that.
I know.
I'd be so happy.
I'd be so happy.
But there's problems with that too. She cannot buy a pair of pants.
Oh, yeah, and shoes. I remember,
Ever.
my mother-in-law always had problems finding shoes.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
So we get our quirks.
My mom's
our
so
perks.
funny. My mom's 5'1", and she was standing up on like a step stool, and she goes, "This is what the world looks like to Brian." Just, "Melanie, get up here. It's totally different." Because you're looking down at everything instead of up.
It's totally different, right? I was doing something in our house one day, and I was like, this is so hot. Oh, I was standing on a step stool to cook in an Instapot because I can't really see in the Instapot.
Yeah.
And so Bert comes in and goes, "What are you doing?" Because I'm on like a 2-step step stool stirring this. And it's like, I can't function with this device. I need like a low table.
Right.
And he just walks up and is like, doo-doo-doo. I'm like, he's only 6 feet.
Yeah.
But makes it different. Well, I mean, compared to 6'7". So married to a comic.
Married to a comic. We've been married. I was just talking about this. We will have been together 25 years. 25 years? 20 years. 20 years in March. Is it 20 or 25? We started dating in 1998.
It's 25.
25! That's
Oh my
crazy.
God.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm old enough to be with somebody
You're
for
not.
25 years.
You're not. For the record, you're not.
And we dated for like 6.5 years before we got married. We got married in 2004.
And
So-
was he a comic when you met him?
Yes.
And what
Yeah.
were you doing when you met him?
I was an assistant at his manager's office.
Okay.
You know, which now wouldn't fly. But back then it was totally okay.
Totally fine,
They
yeah.
set us up.
No way. No way. Who set you up?
His manager.
And
Yeah.
said you guys would be perfect?
Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
And it worked.
It totally worked.
It totally worked.
Yeah. He
That's
was
amazing.
shy. So he'd call the office and act like it was business. But he now tells me, he's like, I just wanted to talk to you.
Oh,
I know. It's very sweet.
You
Very
know,
sweet.
there's a lot of comics, including my comic, who's just such a sweet little romantic,
Yep.
little sweetie pie,
Totally.
soft on the inside, gooey,
Totally.
romantic.
And you wouldn't necessarily know that. At least, I mean, your husband comes across as very lovable.
Well,
he's like that
well, so
guy you
does
just want
yours.
to hug, but in a different way. He has a little more of a hard shell, I
maybe,
think.
but maybe,
Yeah.
but I think your husband's adorable and
Yeah.
and sweet.
Yeah.
Even though he might not, excuse me, he may not always come across with that. You can see it.
Yeah.
He's a sweet guy.
Yeah. He
I
is.
don't even know him.
He's just he's way sweeter than I am. That's for sure.
Same at my house. Let me tell you, Bert says all the time I'm dead inside because I'm like, that's not going to work, and this is why, and
Yeah.
you can move on.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have time for that kind of soft. And
Yeah.
I wonder, do you think that's part of what makes it work? Being married to a comic?
I think, I don't know if it's because he's a comic, but I think the our different personalities really works
Right.
because of that,
Yeah.
not that I totally believe in this shit, but I'm a fire sign.
So am
and,
I.
And he's a Cancer.
Oh,
And,
Yep.
and
That's
it just, I think he's made me a better person, in all honesty.
Uh-huh.
Like I'm not as feisty and fiery as I used to be. I feel like he cools me a little bit. You know what I mean? I think that works. Yeah, I think just he's made me a better person. Like I'm kinder. I think more before speaking because I was one of those people just say anything.
Uh-huh.
Might be mean, might be nasty.
You might be my doppelganger.
Really?
Uh-huh. No joke. Not even joking. I feel the same way about Bert. I think he's
Yeah.
made me like slow down
Yeah,
and take a breath
yeah,
and think about how I treat people
Yeah.
before I treat them. It doesn't always work.
yeah,
Sometimes it gets away from me.
Yeah.
But I definitely do pause.
yeah.
He's way better at that sometimes than I am. I learned
Yeah.
it from him. Whether
Yeah,
or not
me
he's
too.
proficient, that's where I learned it.
Look, we all have our days, right? But yeah, I agree. I feel like he's made me better in that way.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Do you think he's funny?
I am not just saying, he makes me laugh every single day.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely what got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not the same there.
No?
No.
You don't think he's funny?
Oh, I think he's very funny.
Okay.
But he does not make me laugh every
doesn't?
single. No.
Oh.
There's too much neuroses in that man.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
he's-
mine has a lot of neuroses too.
A lot of them.
But
Not all
he's
of them are
also
funny.
he's just so dry. Like he'll just say one thing, and it just cracks me up. Just
That's
the way he
awesome.
responds to life.
Right.
You know what I mean? And sometimes he's not even trying.
He's just being.
Yes.
Isn't it amazing? Not to be like, wow, but isn't it amazing to be happily married?
It really is. I feel really grateful
Uh-huh.
for that.
Uh-huh.
And that we still like each other after all these years, because I think that's unusual.
Yeah. We
You
feel
know?
the same way. We had
Yeah.
our first went off to college this year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we still have one at home.
Mm-hmm.
And we started looking around going, okay, we're on like borrowed time here as a
Mhm.
unit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to travel with him a lot in the fall. And
Yep.
we were like, oh, yeah, this is fine, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I'm going to miss my kids
Of
when
course.
they fly the coop.
Yeah.
But we were like, oh, yeah, we have so much fun. And we still laugh and we
Yeah.
still do stupid stuff. And I still make him laugh and he still makes me laugh. And isn't that really what it should be?
I think so.
Should be pretty
and
easy.
I'm more comfortable with him probably than anybody.
Yeah,
for
same.
sure.
Yeah. Well, he's made me more comfortable with myself,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Because, when you are that person who's fiery and maybe out there and outspoken and very
Mhm.
opinionated, and you get
Mhm.
pushed back when you are yourself and you
Mhm.
have someone who goes, no, you freaking do it.
Yeah.
Then you go, okay, well, maybe I'm just going to freaking do it.
Yeah.
then. Okay, let's do it. Yeah, he's definitely made me, and I'm an only child, so I didn't have anybody to reflect
Right.
back.
Right.
who am I, in
Right.
a way where I felt like they would never leave, sort of. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think he's ever going to leave, which is good. I
Yeah.
mean, but so that makes me feel really safe.
Is he, my husband's an only child too. Is he an only child?
No, he has 2 sisters.
Oh, he does.
Yes.
Older, or where is he in
He's
the
the
lineup?
oldest.
He's the oldest?
He's
Oh,
the
okay.
biggest. He's the big brother.
Okay.
Yeah, he has 2 sisters who are also really strong personalities like him.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's good is he grew up with really strong personality women. His mother's a strong personality, so he married someone with a strong personality.
Yeah.
And he knows kind of how to handle that, what to do with that. So.
My husband too, because his father died when he was 2.
Oh.
And his mother never remarried. So he was just around the grandmas and his mom. I mean, he was raised by women.
Isn't that funny?
I think that's kind of a good thing.
Oh,
I think it makes them better husbands. And better humans.
I think it makes them better humans and maybe better husbands too. But what I know now is like everybody on his team, almost everybody is a woman. Halston, his assistant Peter, and his cameraman. Everyone else is a woman. His
interesting.
manager, Jennifer, Rachel, Stacy, Felicia. They're all women.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting in this quote man's world,
right?
That he just went, "Where my women at?"
Yeah, but I know I have clients like that too.
You do?
I think they definitely prefer being the female energy works better for them.
It does for some people.
Yeah,
How busy was Brian at his busiest? Is he gone a lot?
He is gone a lot.
He is still.
Yeah. It over the years, it's varied depending on what's going on in his life, but he tours. I mean, he's gone a couple weekends out of the month regularly.
Yeah.
Same. But that's our norm.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird kind of when he's home all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty independent person by nature. Like, before we were married, I lived by myself and I liked it.
Same. I'm telling you, I think you are actually my doppelganger. I'm going, this is the most boring conversation ever. I should just talk about myself. No, I was the same. I lived by myself and loved it.
Yeah. Loved it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd get scared, but other than that, I liked it, living in an apartment in West Hollywood by myself. But anyway, so that's like our norm, and I like it.
Yeah.
And it's nothing against him.
No.
But I like my weekends when he's gone,
Yeah, I do too. I've always said I don't think I could be married to a 9-to-5er.
Yeah.
I think I would kill them. I need my space.
Totally.
I need to be completely in control of my day.
Yeah.
And not have to even consider.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would consider my child.
Yes.
But not really have to consider another adult and what their wants or needs are.
Yeah.
Just do my day.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why our relationship is so strong too, is because we're both so busy.
Yeah.
We don't have time to get into each other's, to deal with bullshit or anything like that, and then when we do have time together, we appreciate it.
Yeah. We're very similar. I'm busy a lot with his stuff.
Yep.
But I'm still busy.
Yeah.
It's still stuff that he's not doing.
Imagine.
Yeah. Do you manage him also?
No,
Okay.
I don't.
Okay. That's probably good.
I always say we'd probably be divorced. They blame their managers for everything. I don't want to be in that position.
Totally.
And I love his manager.
Yeah.
And they've been
good.
together forever.
Okay.
He was the best man in our wedding,
Oh,
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah.
There, he's fine.
Yeah. They were roommates.
No way.
Yes. When we started dating. So I would literally spend the night at his house and then see my boss in the office the next morning. You know what I mean?
Oh, how funny. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
How did you meet Brian?
Yeah. Through work.
Oh, through work. You already told me that.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
Sorry. So did you know pretty quickly? Like, okay, this is where I need to know.
But that's not my personality.
No.
I'm very envious of people that say that. Like, they saw somebody and they just knew that they were going to spend the rest of their lives together. That's not my personality. I think, and I'm a serial monogamous. So obviously I've been with my husband longer than anybody, but my boyfriend's, stuck around. So I know I can love other people.
Yeah, right.
That sound like an asshole.
No, not at all. I was the same way. I never slept around, but I had boyfriends.
Yeah.
Not always, but I often had boyfriends.
Yeah.
And, it's like, it's like kind of trying on a suit. You go,
Yes.
well, have this relationship for a while. And then when
Yes.
it's over, you go, well, what do I learn from that?
Yeah.
And then you keep going.
Yeah.
So no, when I met Bert, we met bowling.
Uh-huh.
He says we met 2 or 3 times before that, for which I have no memory.
Uh-huh.
But when we finally met bowling, I was like, go out with him. 2, 3 dates, and then we'd be friends forever. I'm not marrying a comic. No way.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, I went, hold on. I've been dating the wrong kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've been dating people that look good on paper, so to speak.
Yep. I
but
know exactly what you mean.
Aren't right inside.
Mm-hmm.
I ran circles around them, like literally would run emotional and mental circles around them.
Mm-hmm.
But they, on paper, like, he's a lawyer. Well, then he should be great. But I'm like, and blah, 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 blah. And they're like either exhausted by me,
right,
or don't understand what I'm talking about.
Right.
And so when I met Bert, I was like, oh, hold on. This is actually my like sparring partner in life in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
So pause. And then I had a complete panic attack.
You did?
I did. I had a total panic attack. Called who ended up being my maid of honor, Rumbly, who's a guest on here often, and was like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this. He's a slob. He's such a slob. He's never going to make money. He's a comic. I mean, let's be real. Comics, so few make it. What am I doing? I'm going to throw my life away. I was a writer at the time, and I had some good momentum. I was like, am I seriously going to do this? Oh my God. And she was like, I'll be there in 5 minutes. She pulled up and she let me and I'm not that way.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever, I know I have never had a panic attack ever, except that moment. Mm-hmm. And I'm not hysterical ever.
Yep.
And I was hysterical. And she lets me be hysterical. And she goes, oh, honey, it's over. It's over for you. This is it. So you may as well just give it up. Let's go watch Finding Nemo. So we did. We went and watched Finding Nemo. By the end of the movie, I was like, okay, well, I guess this is it. Well, if this is it, I need some therapy because I have no roadmaps on how to be married. All my relatives were either oddly married or unhappily married or multiply divorced. So that's what I did. I got into therapy and was like, if I'm going to do this, I need some backup.
Good for you, though, that you had the wisdom to do that.
Well, I was 33.
But still, lots of people.
I was 32 and I was like, Mama not smart enough for this game.
Yeah.
So I did. And I'm still in therapy with the same therapist because I realized very quickly that I don't know how to coexist with an equal. And because I didn't have a sibling, I had cousins, but it's not the same. And then I had parents who don't say married. So I was like, still to this day, I'm with her and she helps me with so much in my life as like a mentor. I think of her more. I don't have any like, and the skeleton in this closet.
Right.
I just have like, this is happening, the dynamic that's happening in my house. And I don't know how to manage that, and I don't have a partner because of many reasons. One, Bert's not physically here, but the other one is being as emotional as he is as a human. He tends to be very reactive and I am not. I'm very logical. So I'm like, there's a middle.
Right.
Help me find the middle. And Bert's not great at that.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
is he in therapy?
He ought to be. He has on and off many times, but he just can't stick with it.
Yeah.
Much like sobriety, much like eating healthy, much like fill in the blank. He has a hard time with that. And I totally accept that. That's his path and his journey.
Yeah.
It's not my job to help him figure out any of that.
Yeah.
It's my job to coexist with this person who functions differently than I
do. Yeah.
And not have judgment on that,
Yeah.
He I'm sure thinks the way I function is asinine. I am a list maker beyond.
Me
and
too.
he's like,
doppelganger.
Yeah, exactly. I can't function without a list. I can't do it.
I've always done that.
Me too.
So as long as I can remember.
Me too. My first memory of it is like high school.
Yeah, me too.
Always. I can't.
Nope.
There's too much in my head that I have to get it out.
Me too.
And not lose
and it just helps. Yeah.
Sufficient.
But that's why we keep it together, right?
Exactly.
Because we're keeping everything together.
Totally.
Yeah, you have to have a list.
Yes, you do. And your son is 13?
He's 13.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in middle school. First year middle school.
How's he doing?
He's doing good.
Good.
I was really worried, because middle school's rough.
It can be very rough.
You know, I feel like even for me, and I was a pretty well-adjusted kid, but I remember that time being the toughest for me.
Yeah.
Just figuring out your hormones are crazy. You're trying to figure out who you are, you know, that kind of stuff.
So is everybody else in your class.
Exactly.
And so it's just a big soup of drama.
Yeah. But he's doing good. He's doing really good.
Good.
Knock on wood.
He's adorable.
He's still sweet. I'm waiting for him to turn into an asshole, but
maybe
I'm
he
sure
won't.
it's around the corner.
I don't know. You know,
Did yours? How old are yours? I know you said one's gone.
18 and 16.
Okay.
You know what's interesting?
Girls, right?
Both girls.
Okay.
They've never really been an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
They have friends who've been assholes.
Mm-hmm.
They've been. Georgia's very sneaky and liey and get away with stuff.
Yeah.
But not in her behavior.
Right.
More so with her dad.
Oh, okay.
She has some asshole behavior with her dad.
Interesting.
They are the same human.
Oh.
No one thinks they are because
well, you would know.
she talks a good game.
Yeah.
But they are identical in so many ways, and then hence the struggle.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
They want what they want, and the other one doesn't want that.
Yeah.
And it's a struggle.
Yeah.
So she doesn't give me that kind of pushback.
Mm-hmm.
She only does it with Bert, which makes Bert feel she doesn't love me like she loves you. She doesn't respect me like I'm like, oh, dude, Isla and I fight like cats and dogs.
Yeah.
And he'll say to me, "You're fighting with yourself. You realize that." But if I say that to him about Georgia,
it
he's
doesn't
like,
sink in.
"You don't understand what I'm going through." I'm like, it's the same thing, dude. It's the same thing. She's the same as you.
Yeah.
So, but no one's really been an asshole yet.
Oh, that's good. Then there's hope. Were you an asshole?
I was like Georgia. I was a liar, sneaker. I was super sweet on the surface. I'll totally do that.
And then do whatever you wanted.
Yeah. And I got busted a couple times.
Yeah.
Did not deter me from continuing to do that.
Yeah.
It's criminal behavior.
Yeah.
Some of it's positive criminal behavior.
Yeah.
You know, you learn how to find a workaround and you make a mistake.
Yeah.
And that mistake is your own.
Yeah.
Because no one has told you not to.
I remember like being a teenager and going, okay, is this going to be worth getting in trouble? I think it is. So let's roll the dice.
Here we go. What's the value of this?
Totally.
That's amazing. I don't think I had that much insight.
No?
No, I was just like, fuck everybody. I'm doing it.
Oh, really?
And I'll pay the price if I have to pay the price.
Yeah.
I was not that insightful. So I'm sure, like you, like us, raising a kid with a touring comic is just normal, right?
Totally normal.
Totally normal.
Yeah.
Were there any conversations with, what's your son's name?
Rhodes.
Oh, great name.
Thank you.
Were there any conversations with Rhodes about why dad's on the road and this dad's not?
Because it was always that way.
It's just normal.
Yeah, it's totally normal. It's really interesting too. So, you know, at the beginning of COVID, because Brian we've never spent that much time together.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
Preaching to the choir. Yep.
And they were really like button heads there for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually like had to like put my foot down and go, I'm not going to live this way. You two have to like work your shit out.
Right.
Because this is not working.
Right.
You know? And they did. They like
good.
had a conversation about it. And, you know, but yeah, back to your question. It's totally normal for him.
Yeah.
He's gone part of the time.
Now, how does Brian feel bad about?
Yes.
Yeah, I have that problem.
And I'm
too.
always like, why? I go, think about all the time. I go, my dad was never home.
Yeah.
Ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he worked from sun up till sundown.
Mm-hmm.
And think of all the time. Like, you get to go pick him up from school some days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you're home, you're home.
Yeah, that's been our philosophy always.
Which I think is pretty awesome.
I think it's amazing.
And I think really you get more quality time with him than somebody with a 9-to-5 job.
You know, I think the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point of view we've always had. I think what helped me was having divorced parents.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad picked me up every other weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing. When I was home, he was home and he was super focused.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got to be a bachelor.
Mm-hmm.
And because he didn't have custody of me, he got the luxury of just being a person,
Mm-hmm.
except for that weekend. And I stayed with him all summer.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was with him, he was super plugged in.
Yeah.
So I think we just repeated that
Right.
in our life. Is I
Right.
go, when you're here, then you're here.
Here.
You do
Yeah.
drop off, you do pick up, you make
Yep.
lunchbox,
Yep.
you do all these things. And when early in his career, I was working full time. I was managing apartment buildings,
Mm-hmm.
and we had just one building when we had Georgia, so I could work and have a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then they bought 2 more buildings and gave me all 3. So I
Mm-hmm.
had to actually go to an office.
Mm-hmm.
So on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday-ish, he was home. He was just daddy on duty.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you have no idea what a gift that was to our whole family.
100%.
Because now you are connected to our kids
Mm-hmm.
in a way that most dads don't get. you
Ever.
know? Ever.
Yeah.
He was fully in charge. Are they eating chocolate for lunch?
Yeah.
It's none of my business because guess what? Daddy's on duty.
Right.
Mom has rules, but daddy's on duty.
Yeah.
I'm not saying dad's rules are bad.
Yeah.
I'm not here to see or regulate. So,
Right.
I mean, he has so many stories of putting him in the stroller or walking up, we were 1 block from a Ralph's.
Uh-huh.
He would walk up to Ralph's, put one in the buggy, one in the basket of the buggy, and just run he would always buy a loaf of French bread that was fresh
Uh-huh.
and let them eat it while we shopped.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fine.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Totally.
So special. That's always been my point of view too. So many people have asked me, isn't it sad though he's never home?
Yeah.
But when he is home, he's really home.
Home.
Until recently. He's
Yeah.
been really busy recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad to hear that you're same.
No, 100%. I think though, if you talk to most people in our situations, don't you think most people would feel that way?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Do you know a lot of other comics' wives?
Not a lot. I have a couple really good girlfriends whose husbands are in bands.
Oh, similar.
But I feel really grateful because their husbands will be gone for months
Yeah.
on tour.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And mine's just gone for a couple of days and then comes home and then leaves again, which
Yeah.
to me, it's like ideal.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the best scenario.
Yeah.
I know one of my
Yeah.
closest friends' husband is a big movie producer, and he
Mhm.
would be gone for months at a time
Yeah.
too. And when the kids were little, we totally co-parented
Yeah.
because, it's a lot to have
It's a lot.
2 young
Oh, I can't
girls.
imagine.
We had 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sometimes we'd have to be in 2 places at one time with
Yeah.
one adult, and we'd just divide and conquer.
Yeah.
I'm doing dinner Thursday night, you do dinner Wednesday night, and I pick up, you pick up. We co-parent.
Takes
It
a
was
village. That's
a
amazing.
lifesaver.
Yeah.
It really was a lifesaver.
Yeah.
Did you have people like that? I guess you just have one.
I just had one by design. We did
By
that on
design, yeah.
purpose.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
husband was an only child. And I'm kind of an only child. Both my parents were married before and they each had 3. And then I'm second marriage baby.
Okay.
And there's 10, 12, 15 years between me and my
Oh, I
siblings. So
see.
even though I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters, I was home. I was the only one home
Right.
most of my life.
Right.
You know,
Which is why you like being alone, probably.
which is why, yeah, I'm okay with it. We know how to entertain ourselves.
We do.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we decided that we would just have one. And then we kind of went back and forth. And then by the time I was like, well, maybe I could have a second. He was 5. And I'm like, well, what's the point?
And do I want to start over?
Right?
No, we were like
Yeah.
2 years apart. Let's
Yeah.
go because I just
Yeah.
got one of them up and running. Let's go right back into the
I mean,
trenches.
people
and-
do that for a reason.
Oh, I did it for a reason.
I mean, and again, I only have one, so I don't know, but I would imagine it's probably really hard there for a few years.
it is.
And then you find your groove.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say the first year
Yeah.
is hard because
Yeah.
everybody's on a different schedule.
Yeah.
Everybody's on a different nap schedule, eat schedule.
Yeah.
Everything's all wonky.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, I did not enjoy being an only child.
Yeah.
I enjoyed being by myself, but I liked the option of other people, which I didn't have.
Yeah.
So when we had Georgia, I had a terrible delivery. It was awful with
Mhm.
Georgia. And I went, too bad, lady. You got to do it one more time.
You did.
yeah.
You were like, I'm doing it no matter what.
Yeah.
I had a tough one too. What happened with you?
My epidural was botched and I had a spinal. So I was completely paralyzed
Oh
from
my
the waist
gosh.
down. So couldn't feel anything, couldn't push, had no control over
Nothing.
anything. And then when the epidural would wear off, I would go to full pain immediately. So
Oh my God, that's
I pushed,
awful.
I vomited, I pushed.
How long?
I physically pushed for 2.5 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And they were about to take me to surgery, and then they like suction twisted her out. I tore.
so you didn't have to have a cesarean.
No, I didn't. I made it happen, but for 2.5 hours, I went from complete paralysis to full pain.
That's
over and over
crazy.
and over and
I've
over.
never even heard of that.
It happens to 1%
Wow.
of women in childbirth.
In retrospect, do you wish you would have just done a cesarean or no?
No.
No,
I don't think so. No, I don't. No.
Yeah.
No, I think so much happens when when the baby goes through the birth canal.
Right.
It triggers so much healing.
Right.
That I think that was good.
Yeah.
And no, I'd just not do the spinal.
Yeah.
The second one, I was like, hold on, before you give me this epidural, this happened last time, and it was perfect. It was the easiest thing I've ever done.
So what did they do different?
Was
it their fault?
It was their fault.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
Okay.
Apparently, everyone's epidermis in their spinal column is slightly different in depth and thickness, and mine apparently is not as thick as standard, so to speak.
Okay.
So they just pierced it. What happened then when you have a spinal is your spinal fluid then leaks, which is what cushions your brain. So for 10 days, I had to lie down. Anytime I would raise my head, the pain was so bad.
Oh my gosh.
I went past feeling pain into like outer body experience, and I'd hear myself whimpering.
Wow.
Like, and then I'd lay back down. The only time I ever got up for 10 days was to go to the bathroom. Luckily, my aunt is a nurse in Georgia, a labor and delivery nurse, and she was with me for the birth of Georgia.
That's nice.
And she just took her and went, here's what's about to happen. This is going to be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to bring you medication. I'm going to bring you a baby to put on the boob. She doesn't even know she's on the planet for 2 weeks. Don't worry about it. Sleep and get better.
Rest.
This hole in your spinal column has to heal. Takes about 10 days.
Did you have to stay in the hospital the whole time?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
They sent me home, and I was able to be home. But thank God for my Aunt Diane, because she literally would come in with the baby, put her on the boob, take her, and I just wouldn't see her.
And also just having somebody with that knowledge. I mean, what a relief.
Yes.
You
Georgia
know?
was jaundiced, so she was like, she took care of all
That's
that.
so common, yeah.
Isn't it? But she did it. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I laid in the bed and just like whimpered.
Yeah.
Every time I sat up. It's so funny too. She handed me my last Vicodin. And she went, okay, here's what's going to happen. You're about to get really angry. It is the drug. It is normal. You need about 36 to 48 hours. It's going to be really mad. Don't worry about it. I got the baby. Be mad all you want, but you got to come off the Vicodin.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, why don't they tell people this in the hospital?
Totally.
Why don't they just say, here's what's about to happen?
Yeah.
Your head's going to spin around and you're going to start shooting pea soup out. It's okay.
I'm sure you appreciate that. I mean, I would
So
much rather like lay it down for me.
Yes.
Don't soften anything. Just tell me what it is and then I can deal with it.
Yes.
You know?
Here's how it's going to be.
Yeah.
These 10 days are going to suck.
Yeah.
And now 2 more days are going to suck.
Yeah.
But then you're out of it.
Right.
And she was right.
Yeah.
Thank God. So after all of that, I still was like, I got to have one.
You're
more.
a trooper.
I can't.
But you still wanted to have a second one. I don't know if I would have.
Well, part of me went, what is the likelihood of that happening again?
Right.
It's not very likely.
Right.
So let's just go ahead, because I've already taken care of maybe not the worst case scenario,
Right.
but definitely not the most fun.
Right.
So let's take care of that's off my plate. We're just
Right.
going to assume that's off my plate and hope for the best. And Isla literally was like delivering a feather.
It was.
She just went boop. And I was
That
like,
was
"Oh,
it.
baby!"
One of those. I'm
Yes.
so jealous of people that are like that. I've had friends like that will like went in, boop, out, you know.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, no biggie.
That was the second one. The first one was like, holy shit. How about you? You had a hard time the first
Well,
time?
I had preeclampsia.
What
so
is that?
That is high blood pressure onset by pregnancy.
Yes.
And
Okay.
I don't know why. Like now, when I look back at it, I was kind of oblivious at how serious it is.
Mhm.
I almost feel like it was like a protective mechanism in my brain so that I wouldn't stress out.
Mhm.
And my doctor put me on bed rest. So I was supposed to just rest, you know,
For how long?
for the last 2.5 months.
Jesus.
Yeah. And I was like, that ain't going to happen.
You don't know who
I
you're
don't
talking
sit
to.
still.
No, no.
Ever.
That would be terrible.
Yeah.
Did you
terrible.
do it?
A little bit. I mean, I worked from home instead of going into the office, you know. And then one morning I woke up and I couldn't see out of one of my eyes.
Oh, no.
So I called the doctor and he goes, "Oh, you need to come down to the hospital." You know, he was super calm. So I told Brian, I go, "Okay, we got to go down. They're probably going to check me out and send us back home," you know, because we still had 4 weeks to go, you know. So we go down to Cedars and they're like, "Oh, we're taking this baby."
Oh,
I mean,
no.
literally, like I was and I had to have a cesarean right there. They were afraid I was going to have a stroke.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's scary.
It was super scary, but you don't feel anything. I felt great.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? I didn't feel, because that's how high blood pressure is.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And then I still didn't have full vision in my eye for 2 months after he was born. But fortunately, they found out that it was muscular instead of neurological.
Oh,
so if
that's
it was
good.
neurological, that would have been bad.
Yeah.
So I was able to like do exercises and stuff. And then I came back.
How crazy.
I know. It was really crazy.
I've never heard of that before, ever.
I know. And I was just oblivious.
Yeah.
They're just going to send us home.
Yeah,
Like, no big deal.
This is not a problem. Isn't it great that that's your attitude, right?
I guess so, yeah.
I would have been the same way.
But I also think back, I was like, you dummy.
I know. I'm the same way. When the pandemic started, I would be doing stuff and Bert would be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're putting us all at risk. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just like walking in the yard or something that I have no clue.
No clue.
It's because I have no anxiety.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, people die from what I had. Sometimes like it's you or the baby.
Really?
Yes. I mean, I have my old business partner, one of her really good friends here in Encino at the hospital. Yeah. The mom didn't make it. The baby survived, but the mom didn't.
Oh my God, how terrible.
And I know I like read some.
Yeah.
I really feel like it was my brain just like protecting me.
Just saying.
Because that's really not my personality. Like I want to know everything about everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think it was just like to not stress me out or something.
A mechanism.
Yeah,
somehow.
a mechanism of some sort.
Let's talk about Lumi. This podcast is sponsored by Lumi. I don't know if you know what Lumi is, but Lumi is deodorant. But it's not just deodorant like you think about deodorant. It's like whole body deodorant. It's for your pits. It's for your vajayjay. It's for wherever you have some body odor. And it smells kind of natural and awesome. And it lasts a long time and it's all natural. And it was developed by a doctor. And I mean, what more positive can I say about it? If you want to smell better naked, then you're going to need a little help maybe. Especially, I think there's certain times in your life where you maybe have more body odor than others, like adolescence, menopause, after childbirth, if you work out a lot. These times you may need a little extra support in the like positive smell vibe area. So Lumi is a great place to turn for whole body deodorant, for personal area deodorant, for underarm deodorant, for just smelling good in general. Lumi was created by an OBGYN. And they're the best doctors on the planet, if you ask me. But this OBGYN discovered and proved in clinical testing that the vagina is not to blame for day-to-day odor below the belt. And she developed Lumi, a uniquely formulated pH-balanced deodorant. It's aluminum-free, it's skin-safe, clinically proven to control odor for up to 72 hours. That's 3 days. That's a long time. Personally, I work out 3 days a week. So obviously I sweat. I sweat hardcore because I work out hardcore. Sometimes I'm in a hurry. They have these wipes that are like deodorized wipes. They're so awesome. I just use these wipes. I hit the hot spots and then I hit the road. They're so awesome. I can keep them in my purse. I can keep them in my gym bag. Easy to use, great fragrance. I love them. And they keep odor at bay for 72 hours. Now, after I work out, I'm probably going to shower pretty soon after that. But when I use their wipes, it just takes care of everything right away. And I can use it on my whole body. I don't just have to use it on my underarms. I can use it on my vagina. I can use it under my boobs where I sweat a lot. I'm not sure if it's odoriferous under my boobs, but I use them there anyway because it's kind of gross. So I don't know. I think Lumi's a great product. Lumi's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like mini body wash or deodorant wipes. And there's free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code WIFE at lumideodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit lumideodorant.com. Lumi is Lume, lumideodorant.com, and use the code WIFE. Again, as a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code WIFE at LumiDeodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit Lumi, L-U-M-E, LumiDeodorant.com and use the code WIFE. Perfect. I'm telling you, it's a great thing to throw in your bag and have whenever you need it. Lumi, check it out.
You know,
Fascinating.
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is sometimes. Sometimes I'll take it. You're so right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But baby was okay. I mean, he was obviously early.
He was a little tight. He was 5 pounds.
Oh, geez.
And then he went down to 410. So he was little itty bitty. We called him Benjamin Buttons because he just looked like a little wrinkled old man.
Did he have to stay in the NICU or anything?
No, they sent us home after 5 days because I made them. They didn't want me to leave because my blood pressure was still up. But, you know, when you're in the hospital, they come in and bug you constantly. I go, it's driving me fucking crazy. I go, you have to let me go home.
Yeah.
I cannot be here anymore. Somebody comes in every half hour. I'm not resting. It's stressing me out.
Yep.
So I called my doctor and she made them release me.
Yeah.
And I went home and after a few hours took my blood pressure. And it was fine.
How about that?
You know?
Yes, I do know. I know. I unfortunately had to go to the hospital. I was in the hospital for 2 nights.
Yeah.
A couple years ago. And I was like, it drives you crazy.
I'd never been in the hospital. I was so lucky. I've never broken a bone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was the first time, but 5 days I was like,
get me out of
here.
The
first 2 days I was like, this is great. They do everything. They bring me whatever I ask for. Right? This is amazing.
That's so funny. Our first day in the hospital, I was still, after I delivered Georgia, it was shift change for the nursing staff. It was like 7:35, something like that. She was born. 7 o'clock's the shift change.
Yeah.
So as soon as she was done, they shifted. So all the nurses, doctors left with Georgia and Bert, and they turned the lights out on me and left me there.
You're kidding?
No, for a very long time.
They forgot about you?
They did, and I was having
God.
a reaction. I guess some women shake violently after they deliver.
I did that too.
Oh yeah, So you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
and you're
a
like
violent,
cold,
and you're freezing, and you can't. It's almost like a form of shock. Is
totally,
what it seems like.
Yeah.
So I sat and shook for like half an hour going, is someone coming back for me? And I couldn't figure out how to call anybody.
Oh my
I think they maybe left the button.
Did you scream?
Somewhere else? No. I just sat there going, So by the time we got to the room, I was just shot. I mean, I was just done. I was complete jelly. Mentally, physically, emotionally done. And Georgia was in the room with us. She starts crying. And Bert raises up and goes, are you going to get that? And I was like,
was he serious?
Yes! You're kidding! And I was like, no, I'm not going to get that.
This is not a good start.
No. He was like, well, the first thing I thought of is somebody else is going to get that. And I was like, that was you. I can't even sit on my tush at the moment.
Amazing.
Are you going to get that? And I was like, amazing. Who did I marry? What's wrong with you?
Incredible.
Always a comic.
Always.
Although he wasn't being funny. He actually meant it.
Yeah.
So did you grow up watching or liking comedy? Wow.
You know, I did. But I never thought about working in it. You know, I'm from a small farm town in It's California, but it's like the Midwest.
Yeah.
You know, it's all
farmland.
Yeah. Very conservative. There's a church on every corner, you know. So where I grew up, like you were a teacher or police officer or you know, that's what people did, or you worked in agriculture,
right?
You know, so I didn't really think about that, like having a job in it. But,
so then, how did you become that?
Well, I thought I wanted to be a teacher, so I did like a year of like student teaching, and was like, nope, don't want to do this.
Yeah.
You work really hard and you don't make any money.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Totally. Which is a shame.
My best friend from middle school and high school, the day she turned 18, she moved out of our little town and came to Hollywood. She always wanted to. She wanted to be an actress. And she said, why don't you just come live in LA? Just check it out.
Yeah.
You know? She's like, what do you have to lose? And I packed up my car and moved down here and slept in her closet.
Oh my God. In her closet. I hope it was a walk-in closet.
It was.
Okay, good.
A twin mattress fit perfect.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You are not the first person I've heard that lived in a closet.
I know. It's kind of common, right?
It is. A place to sleep.
We did that for like, I don't know, 6 or 7 months. I probably lived in that closet. And then we got an apartment together.
Right.
A 2-bedroom apartment together
And
after I got a job.
What was your first job here?
Well, I got a job working for a guy at Capitol Records as an assistant. And I always loved music. And I love live music. So I was very excited about that. But he was not a nice person.
Oh, no.
No, not at all. And this isn't really my personality, but I quit after 3 months and I told him to fuck off.
Wow.
Which is that's not really how I roll.
Yeah. So it's specific to that person.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, like by today, it was total sexual harassment and like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I came into work one day and I had like these Oxford shoes on, and he told me he didn't like my shoes, that I needed to go home and change my shoes.
What?
And yeah, so I go, you know what, John, fuck you. I quit and left.
Wow.
Yeah. And went back to my apartment in tears.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend, my roommate, she had become friends with Richard Baker, and he owned this comedy management company, Messina Baker. And they had Tim Allen and Drew Carey, Janine Garofalo in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And before he made his millions, he lived in the same apartment complex as her, and she would walk his dogs.
Oh.
So I come home, I'm in tears, and the phone rings. I pick up the phone, and it's Richard Baker's assistant. And she said, I'm calling for my roommate to see if she could walk Richard's dogs. And I said, okay, yeah, I'll give her the message. I go, are you guys hiring? And she goes, actually, we are. We're looking for a receptionist. And I go, oh, could I apply? And she goes, yeah, you should come down and interview. Never met the girl, just did it on the phone.
Right.
And so 2 weeks later, I went down and interviewed, and they hired me.
Amazing.
And I started as the receptionist and then worked my way up. I was an assistant for several years, and then I ended up running their talent department, and I worked there for 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's how I got into the business. And I just became like obsessed with comedy. We lived around the corner from the Improv. So I was just at the Improv every night and just soaking it all in and loved it. And I'm so grateful because I love doing what I do.
Yeah.
There's not one day where I'm like, God, I made a bad choice.
So I know what you do, but tell me what you do so people listening know what you do.
Yeah. So I have I have a boutique management company that specializes in comedy. So I have comedic writers, comedic actors, and some stand-ups.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And I've been on my own for 10 years.
Amazing.
Yeah. And I worked at the other company for 15. So
Long time.
been doing it a long time.
That's a long time.
It is.
It's so great. Women in this business, so great.
It is.
Yeah. They're
It is.
a special person
Yeah.
to be, not just woman, a special person to be involved with comics.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh,
Comics
for
are
sure.
so special.
They are. They're their own breed. For
They
sure.
are. And much like teachers, I think they're underpaid
Yeah.
for a long time. Because if you are good at comedy, I think you are good at making people think.
Yeah.
Stimulating a brain.
Totally.
Doesn't mean you're learning anything deep or anything, but just making you think, making you pay attention and focus and listen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love comics. I grew up watching comedy with my dad. Never had any aspiration of being involved in comedy at all. Ended up writing romantic comedies and like female focused.
Did you always
comedies.
want to be a writer?
No, I didn't. I wrote well in school, where my like short stories at school that my school would submit to like state competitions for writing, but I never. Like you, I grew up in a town of like 1,800 people in rural Georgia. And then when my parents divorced, my mom moved me to Atlanta for a time. So I lived in midtown Atlanta and then a suburb of Atlanta for a while. So I did have some exposure to like city folk and city thinking. But I ended up back in my small hometown where everybody was like you said, teacher, nurse, accountant, bookkeeper, plumber, electrician. which is all wonderful professions, but I had a taste of the city life, you know.
Right.
And so I knew I didn't want any of that, but I didn't really know what I wanted. So I thought I wanted to be a therapist. I thought I wanted to be a high school guidance counselor. Then I thought I wanted to be in real estate, like commercial real estate. And then I just moved to New York City. And then I studied acting in New York City because I was like, well, maybe I'll be an actress.
That was a big change.
It was, right?
Did you love it?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Big stage fright.
Oh.
I loved the process of figuring out someone's character and story and why they say what they say and that cerebral part of it. But I'd always get really nervous with the actual acting.
It's so funny because much smaller level, but I did theater and stuff in school.
You did?
And that's why I stopped, because of the anxiety of the actual performing. It wasn't worth it to me.
Yes.
know?
I stopped eventually because I started writing when I was in New York while I was acting so that I could write things for myself because I was less anxious about it. So, and then when I moved to LA, I just had some bad experiences with agents saying, you know, like I weighed 110 pounds. And one agent was like, you need to either lose about 15 pounds or gain about 20 pounds.
Isn't that unbelievable?
And I'm like, I'm not going to make myself unhappy to do something I'm not even sure I'm really great at.
What I want to do. Yeah.
So I'm just going to focus on writing. So I just pivoted to just writing. And then I kept acting. I met a couple of directors who just kept putting me in their small film, really small films. So I would only act like in that capacity. No auditioning, no agent.
Can you imagine? I really feel for my clients and my husband, like the whole auditioning process.
Oh, forget it.
Isn't it awful?
It's awful.
Just the thought of it.
I can't.
No. I can't imagine. And especially as a woman too. Like,
yeah,
I just
right?
can't even.
No.
I feel for all of you actresses
I
out
know.
there.
I do too. But I think back on my childhood and how I ended up with a comic, which was completely not planned. It's not like I even went to comedy clubs as an adult. I wasn't trolling for a funny guy.
Yeah.
I just went bowling with a funny guy. And went, oh my God, I think we'd be great friends.
Yeah.
And we are great friends. But when I reflected not long ago, I started thinking, you know, every time I was with my dad, we watched comedy all the time. Everything was comedy. He was not into like heavy movies or heavy TV. It was MASH, Sanford and Son, All in the Family.
Yeah.
He loved Gallagher. He loved George Carlin. He loved Richard Pryor. He loved Red Fox as a comic.
Yeah.
He loved Andy Griffith as a comic.
Yeah.
So I always watched comedy with my dad. But never not knowing that I was going to this place where I don't write comedy. I don't do anything like that. But I definitely am very involved in Bert's creative process, you know? Just never would have thought I would have been here.
Isn't that funny?
It's so crazy.
It is.
So who did you see in those days that you thought this person's amazing and they ended up being really successful?
Well, I mean, there's lots of them. I mean, I remember your husband back in the day.
Well, did you think he was going to be really successful?
Well, he had that likability thing. You know what I mean? But once you're in this long enough, that's a hard thing to call because I know lots of really talented people that haven't had success.
Well, that was my next question.
You know what I mean?
You see some people. I remember seeing somebody at the Improv going, why is this guy not amazing?
Yeah.
His name was Jimmy something. I don't remember. He's older than Bert. But I saw him at the Improv once and I was like, this is the funniest freaking guy. I've never seen this guy wear it. Who is this person? And nobody knows who he is.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart.
I know. It's not fair.
It's not fair.
That's for sure. You know? And then other people that you would never think would be successful are. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's just whatever is going on in the world, I think, you know, and a lot of it's being in the right place at the right time, you know, and then there's other people that have been trekking along forever, can get a job to save their souls. And then they have these amazing careers after several years, which is amazing, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then others will hit quick. It's very random.
It is very random. It's very random. And what's so crazy about comics too, you know, this is something I think, I don't understand why this is the way it is, but you know, when you open in middle for someone, you get paid so little.
Yep.
And then once you start headlining, you get paid a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no union for any of these like comedy clubs. I think you have to be at a certain level of a stage to be a union. Or are they even included in unions?
They're not included in unions unless you work in TV and film. I'm actually on a board for this organization called Comedy Gives Back. And that's the whole thing. It's like we raise money to help comedians when they're in times of need, or health crisis.
Yeah.
They don't have insurance.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys that work the road, you know what I mean? Because there's no union.
There's no union. No.
So
I don't know
it's
how.
we're trying. It's new, but we were able to help a lot of people through COVID and stuff like that. Because, if that's how you make your living and you're not making money like our husbands are fortunate enough to.
Yes.
They're basically paycheck to paycheck. A lot of comedians.
Not
you
sometimes.
remember.
Oh, I remember totally. I remember Bert asking me for $50 once, and I go, sorry, we don't have it.
Wow.
You got to go somewhere else because it's not in our bank account. It's not in our junk drawer. We don't have $50.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I often think the only way Bert could have done his early days is with me, and his parents helped us in that they paid for all his flights. That was like our gift, our investment in your career is I'll pay for all your flights. They did that,
which is a big help.
It's enormous.
A big help.
Because when you're making $500 a weekend, and your flight is $200,
yeah. And I've done that for some of my clients, just to help them until they get going.
Yes.
Because it's almost impossible.
I don't know.
Because, they're making $5.
Yeah, they're making $5 if they're lucky.
And a lot of the time when they're paying for the flights and stuff, they literally are.
Yeah.
Making $5.
Bert would have a $500 weekend, and he'd have a $500 weekend.
Yeah.
And at the end of the weekend, we may have $75.
Exactly.
By the time we've paid agent, manager, taxes.
Food, flight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Food, flight, hotel sometimes.
Sometimes, yep.
I'd be like, we got $75.
I know.
And you were gone the whole weekend.
I know.
It really breaks my heart because I feel like.
And they work so hard because that's not easy. It's not easy. Like doing all that. I tell my husband all the time, I'm like, I'm so grateful too that you do this for us, for our family, because I know it's not easy.
No.
I couldn't do all that traveling.
I couldn't do what Bert does. No way.
No way.
No way.
No.
And to do it and to still be struggling with your basic needs is really heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking.
And how do you change that? How do you break the wheel?
Yeah.
How do you change that cycle? Who changes it?
I know.
I don't know.
I know.
I know we always, when Bert got to be a certain point, he would always bonus his open and middle act and make sure that he paid what the club paid. He would match a lot of the time. Yeah. And then you go, well, then that's
helps. And I know a lot of, not everybody does it, but I know a lot of people that do that.
Because it's,
because you remember, it's just like, when I'm a big tipper because I waited tables.
Same.
You know?
Yes.
So you remember those times.
You totally do. Bert was still in the clubs. And one day he was like, I want to give back to, the wait staff worked so hard. And I was like, okay, why don't you do a raffle and have one member of the wait staff win the raffle? Just ask the audience.
That's such a good idea.
Just send up $1, 50 cents, anything. Right. Put it in a bucket.
Yeah.
And then draw one of the wait staff's names out of the hat and they get the money. They get the pot. Do it every show. So he started doing it. He called it the wait staff raffle. And it was, he would have the waiter or waitress or whomever had won the raffle say what they were going to use the money for to everyone who had just given them to the whole audience. So everyone knew your $1
is going towards this.
ABC. Yes. Yeah. The first guy who won, oh my God, stood on stage and said, I wasn't going to be able to afford to give my daughter Christmas.
Wow.
So now I can buy Christmas.
That's amazing.
Thank you so much.
Oh, and that's going to make me cry.
Bert sent me the video the first time and I was like, oh my God. And the audience is crying and he's crying.
Sure. That's amazing.
We're like, you're $5.
Yeah. Which is nothing. A cup of coffee.
You changed his and his daughter's life.
Yeah.
And you changed his hope for humanity. It's amazing.
Totally. That is amazing. I love that idea.
And it was because I was a waitress. Bert was like, these women are just busting their asses.
They are.
That's what you did.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Totally.
I know.
Yeah.
Comics are such special people. They always say they write, produce, act, edit, direct everything that's on stage.
Yeah.
And they get paid the least of anybody in Hollywood.
It's true.
People talk about how writers get shit on.
Yep.
I think comics get it way worse.
Oh, 100%.
Way
We
worse.
know.
Yeah.
I know what writers are making.
Yes, I do too. And even though you take a project from a writer and it's gone sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
And the credit's not given to them.
Yeah.
They still get paid.
And writing is very hard work too.
It's very hard.
You know, but definitely I think the comics get the short end of the stick. That's for sure.
For sure.
You know, unless you're one of the lucky ones.
Yep.
You know,
one of the lucky ones.
One of the lucky ones.
We have a lucky one.
Yep.
Yes, we do. What's the hardest part about being married to a touring comic?
Well, I mean, most comics, as you kind of touched on earlier, definitely have a dark side, you know, and I don't know if people realize that, you know. I mean, my husband definitely can be moody, you know. If something isn't going his way, you know, work-wise, he can be really hard on himself and down about it, you know, those kinds of things. That would probably be the hardest part, I would say. But I'm also, that's what I do for a living. And I'm very nurturing by nature. So I'm okay with like taking care of somebody when they're feeling down, you know?
Yeah, totally. It doesn't, it doesn't mean it doesn't work.
It doesn't mean it doesn't work.
That's the hardest part.
But that is probably the hard. I mean, you know, if sometimes I'll go like, oh, I wonder what it'd be like to be married to somebody that's like a businessman that just they have their shit together. You know what I mean? And then I go, oh my God, I'd be bored out of my mind.
I swear to God, you are my freaking doppelganger. Okay, you ready for this? I am 20 and I am crying to my dad. Again, I'm saying I saw these stories about me being emotional. I'm hardly ever emotional.
Yeah.
Crying to my dad. All my girlfriends are getting married. They're all engaged. I don't understand. No one ever even asked me out. I don't know why. I'm cute. I'm smart. I'm fun. I'm funny. What's the problem? What's wrong with me? And my dad goes, oh, honey, you're not going to marry a regular person.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
He knew.
He said, you be so bored with those boys that are getting engaged right now. You're not going to get married till you're 30, and he's not going to be regular. And I was like, what is that supposed to mean?
It.
I was 20. Like,
I love it.
What does that mean? He's like,
it.
you just seen too much of the world. You're not gonna be okay with just a regular guy.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's gonna do, but he's not gonna be regular.
Yeah.
And I'll be damned.
I love that he knew that about you, though.
He did.
You know?
He knew it, and he was right.
Yeah.
I definitely did not marry a regular person. And I say constantly when I'm complaining to my friend who has the husband that's the movie producer, who is not a comic, but very similar in some of the quirks and eccentricities, right?
Well, it's creative people.
Not a regular person. She's not married to a regular person either. And we can really break it down to the bone and know that this doesn't mean we don't love our husband. Just in this moment, this is really challenging and really upsetting. Yeah. And she or I will be complaining to the other, and we'll always go, but you know, we'd be bored with that 9 to 5. Yeah. Yes, totally. Be bored out of our mind.
100%.
Totally bored.
I would be in all kinds of trouble.
That's what I say. I say the same thing. I'd be in so much trouble.
So much trouble.
I'd be getting in all kind of trouble. So I got in all kind of trouble in a small town. You know? Not enough to do.
Yeah, no, me too.
Not enough stimulation, not enough challenge, not enough thought.
Yeah, not enough excitement. Yeah, for sure.
So is that the hardest part of being a manager? Is the same thing as managing when someone's upset or their moods or emotions, or what's the hardest part about that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I feel kind of jaded. Well, it's also probably like a protective thing. Like I don't get excited about anything work-wise until it is done.
Yes, right.
Because that's just the world we live in.
Yeah, it is.
You know? But I don't like giving bad news to people. You know? That's when, but 90% of the time, that's just the world we live in, you know? You sell a project, great, you're excited, but most of the time that's not going anywhere. That's just how it is.
Totally.
You know? So that I don't love just because it's much more fun to give them good news.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
That's hard. And occasionally I will feel like I'll have moments where I go, oh my God, I just take care of everybody. and I don't take care of myself, you know, and then I'll have to have like a little check-in. Like, I think just because of my personality, I have to like really make sure that I do stuff for myself because by the nature of my job and the nature of who I am, the caretaker, you know, I'm taking care of my son and I take care of my husband and then I take care of my, 15 clients and my mom and whatever else, you know? So sometimes I just have to really make sure that I'm doing something for me too. And my doctor always reminds me of that too.
Why does your doctor remind you?
Just, whenever
Just
we
'cause
talk,
your
she's
doctor
like,
does it.
she's like, you have to like do something for yourself.
It's the hardest thing, isn't it?
It is.
Now, for me, taking care of myself doesn't occur to me. Like I have to consciously think.
Me too.
Okay.
And I had to train myself to do that because I didn't naturally do that.
It's not natural, right?
Yeah.
My natural is other focused.
Yep.
And so.
And we're both so busy too that you just kind of, you start going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not thinking one way or the other. You're just going and getting everything done that needs to be done, you know?
Totally.
Yeah. But in the last, few years, I've tried to be more conscious of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do to take care of yourself? Because I could use some suggestions.
Okay. Well, I grew up at playing tennis and then I didn't play for 30 years. And then when COVID started, I started playing tennis again because it's the only thing I could do and it was outside. So that has become a big thing for me.
Awesome.
And it's great because it's healthy and I love it. I can't believe that I didn't do it for so long. Yeah. Like, why did I stop doing this? But it was partying and stuff like that.
Yeah. You got busy.
Getting up.
You got busy being 20.
Exercising.
Yeah, totally.
That, and then I try to get a massage once a month too.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do some
but sometimes I skip.
Too, you do.
But I'm trying to make sure that I do something like that. What would you suggest, though? I'm happy to hear any suggestions.
Well, I do two things that are immovable.
Okay.
One is I'm in therapy once a week.
Yep.
And the other is I work out 3 days a week with my friend with a trainer.
Love it.
And we have to commute to his gym.
Oh.
So we have half hour in the car.
Yep.
Then an hour workout, and then a half hour.
And you drive
home,
together?
and we drive together. We
That's
carpool.
a good idea.
So I drive. Let's be honest.
Really?
Sandy's not driving anywhere. No, I drive.
Why do you drive? Why don't you share it? Is she a shitty driver?
I don't want to be racist or stereotypical, but she's Chinese. And let's just say many times she's pulled out of my driveway and turned the wrong direction to go to her house.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not even joking.
Amazing.
When I've been in the car with her and go, where are you going? Home. And I go, honey, other way. That's the other way. She is like what that stereotype is based on.
That's
is
too funny.
How she drives.
That's really funny.
And she drives 45 miles an hour on the 101 in the slow lane.
That would
and
drive
I'm
me
like,
crazy.
just give me the wheel.
Yeah.
So I don't even ask her to drive anymore. I just go, how about I pick you up?
Yeah.
How about I pick you up? Because letting her drive makes me bananas.
Bananas. Yeah.
Bananas. But then it's an hour it's like 3 hours a week we get to spend together. Well, it's actually 6 hours a week because an hour working out and then an hour a day in the car.
Yep.
So that's a lot. And it is really hard for me to find that time.
Yep.
It is so difficult.
Yep.
But I make those 4 things a week happen. And man, it's really
doing it
hard.
with a friend is a really good idea because you're not going to flake.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
We don't flake on each other ever. And if it were by myself, I would have quit long time
Me too.
ago.
Yeah. So the friend thing is a good idea.
It was. And I got to an age where I was, I guess I've been working out with him for about 3 years. And I was like having trouble getting up from the dryer. When you squat down and I was like, I got to get all under myself to get up. And I'd have to start pulling myself up off the floor. And I went, if I'm doing this at 49, what am I going to be doing at 69?
I think about that all the time.
So that's why I started working out with a trainer. Because I thought I already worked out.
I know, but you need that strength, right?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you do a lot of strength training.
That's all we do.
Is.
We do 10 minutes of cardio and 50 minutes of strength training. Strength and balance.
Where is his studio?
He's in Chatsworth.
Oh, okay.
He's in Chatsworth. He's far.
Well, my son goes to school out there. I might want to get his info from you if he's taking on any more clients.
He's amazing.
Because so I was down on the floor the other day cleaning up something and went, oh, good Lord, I don't know if I can get up.
Exactly. And I did that too. And at a point I was like, okay, I'm not going to accept this for myself.
I had to crawl over to the bed, so I had something to grab onto to get up.
I 100% relate. 100%. That's why I thought, okay, doing it myself is no longer working.
Yeah.
At a certain age, I felt I needed somebody who knew what they were doing to tell me.
Well, and especially for me, I don't know about you, but like with the weights and stuff, I don't know what to do.
I'm lost.
Yeah, and I don't want to hurt myself either. So I definitely would want somebody to give me direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
And by the time you're this age, you hurt yourself like that.
Yeah.
And it takes you 6 months to recover from it. And we're not even old.
No.
I mean,
I know.
I'm not old.
I know.
So I can only imagine if you don't address it now, what it's going to look like in 20 years when you're starting to get old, when you're 72.
Yeah.
And you're
totally,
that's when everything starts to going away.
Yeah.
So.
I've been thinking about that. And doing yoga once a week too. I've been thinking just because for flexibility, I feel like that's something I need to add to my schedule.
Yoga's
even
so
just once a week.
Yeah. Once a week.
You know?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Just add a little bit.
Like I want to be able when I'm 70 to tie my shoes.
Yeah.
You know what I
too.
mean?
Yeah, me too.
Like and lots of people at that age can't.
Oh, I know.
But I don't want to be one of those.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. My dad is so healthy.
Yeah.
But my father-in-law no longer takes his own socks off.
Yeah.
I'm like, I will never be that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have to.
Yeah.
Shit would have to be seriously sideways for me to have.
But it happened, my mom just turned 84 and she's got more energy than me.
Yeah.
But things.
They sneak up on you.
They sneak up on you.
They do.
They
sneak up on you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, listen, my father-in-law was super healthy, ran marathons.
Yep.
Really great shape. And I think it just snuck up on him too.
Yeah.
It's not like he's some lazy guy sitting in the corner eating, potato chips. He's not. He's just aged without working
at it
to support.
And that's what I was
aging.
just going to say. Like, I feel like if my mom did do some weight training and some stretching at the very least, I feel like that would have really gone a long way for her.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think so. You know what my dad decided, my dad is 75 this year. He'll be 75. And he decided probably about 5 or 6 years ago that every day he would do 25 push-ups, 25 sit-ups. And he has this like contraption where he pulls down on a pulley system.
Yep.
So a little bit of all upper body though.
Yeah.
And I was telling my trainer, I was bragging on my dad. And my dad was like, and my trainer was like, but all balance comes really from like the waist down. So if he's not doing squats, and when you start to fall, that balance piece is so important at his age. Tell him to start doing 25 squats and tell him to start balancing on one foot for like a count of 10. And then the other foot, a count of 10. He said, you don't even have to pick the foot up high.
Right.
Just a little bit. Just count of 10, count of 10. Count of 10.
I'm going to do that.
Count of 10. You should.
Yeah.
So I tell my dad that. And my dad starts doing the squats. And my dad starts balancing and he went, I could not believe how hard it was for me to balance on my
I
foot.
bet though. I'm thinking about it right now.
Right?
And I'm curious. I'm going to go home and try it.
Yeah,
how
right?
long I could even do it.
Right? But my dad was like, within 3 days, I was doing count of 20, count of 20, count of 30, count of 30. But he was like, if you don't practice,
exactly.
then your body
it's like
kind of
anything.
forgets.
Yeah. You got to build up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how simple is that? Anybody at
simple.
any age.
But it all makes sense. Like if you don't use it, you lose it. Right.
Totally.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It makes sense.
Well, I'm glad that you do that. And that's such a good idea that you do it with your girlfriend.
I do it with my girlfriend. And we just have a blast on that drive. We have so much fun on that commute. And then we have a good time working out. But the commute really, it's like lunch.
Bonding.
Yeah. It's like you go to lunch. Instead of going to lunch, you drive to and from working out and you work out.
Yeah.
And it's better for you than lunch anyway, because I probably eat terribly anyway.
Totally. Yeah. I love that.
So that's what I do. And when I put it on paper like that, it sounds like I do a lot of self-care, but it doesn't feel that way. I think.
Well, really, it's only 4 hours a week, right?
Well, no, it's
Is it
2, 4, 6 for working out.
Okay. And then an hour of therapy. So 7. But really, when that's a lot. We have a lot of hours in 7 days a week.
Isn't that the
7
truth?
hours is nothing.
You probably do work. Do you work 7 days a week?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm always working.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just how it is.
Could you imagine doing
know?
anything else?
No. I mean, I could if I had to, but like I think I said it before, I'm so grateful that I wake up and I enjoy what I do because lots of my friends don't. Like
so true.
people I grew up with and stuff,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
They don't love their jobs.
No.
And I do.
Yeah.
I'm never bored ever.
That's awesome.
And I mean it. I'm not just saying that. Never bored. Because it's something different constantly.
It
Depends on what's going on with everybody.
Totally.
You know?
What's the favorite thing you've ever accomplished? What's sort of the one, do you have one thing where you're like, yes?
Well, I mean, for me, because what I do and how I was trained as a manager, I mean, I sign most of my clients when they don't have anything going on.
Yeah.
And it is so rewarding that I have clients now that have careers,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's super rewarding.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
And that we've been together through the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I'm sure you feel that, you know, it's like with your husband.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were there through the whole process.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
It's fucking awesome.
You know?
It's amazing.
It's amazing. And I love that. I love that.
So do you get to watch Brian perform much?
You know what? I don't
Yeah.
actually. I was just telling him, I go, I need to come see you. Also, he doesn't go up a lot in town because when he's home, he wants to be home,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
when he's out touring. But he runs stuff by me, you know.
He does.
Yeah. Yeah. Not everything, but he runs stuff by me
Yeah.
often.
So you know what
So
he's
I know
talking
it's
about.
what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you? Do you see Bert all the time?
Not all the time.
No.
No. I don't. He runs stuff by me too.
Mm-hmm.
I usually don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I usually go, huh?
Well, then I'll be like, there's something there.
Yeah, right.
You know?
I do too. I either get it or I don't get it
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
And he gets a little frustrated with me when I
he
don't get it.
does. Yeah.
But I start watching. Our process is really interesting together. I guess he wants me to see when he's just starting a new hour, just in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually will catch him somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll either go meet him on the road
Yeah.
or catch him somewhere pretty local. And then as he starts working toward recording an hour,
Mhm.
I go with him like a month out and
Mhm.
see several shows.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talk through. I seem to be really good at trimming fat.
Yeah.
I'm a very good fat trimmer.
Yeah.
So I start helping him trim some
Trim
fat.
fat, yeah.
And, you know, if he says fuck 3 times in one joke,
Right.
Let's
Yeah. Pull it back.
how about one time?
Yeah.
And put a word
Yeah.
in there that means something
Yeah.
besides fuck. It's lazy.
Yeah.
Lazy writing.
Yeah.
So I'm good at that too.
Uh-huh.
Because, you know, he gets in the rhythm and
Yeah.
the energy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just seem to see it from a not live perspective. I seem
Right.
to see it in my brain from a television, like I'm watching this on
Right.
screen perspective.
Right. I do that too.
You do?
Yeah.
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 Super. I think it's a very specific skill
Yeah.
to be able to see someone's live act and
I
say,
mean, I
"How
don't
does
even
this
know where it
translate?"
comes from. Do you think it's just because we've been around it so much?
Possibly. I
Yeah.
wonder if it's because the only way I experienced comedy growing up was on the television.
Yeah. Well, me too.
I didn't have any.
Yeah. My
Comedy club.
first live comedy show was George Carlin, actually, but I think I was 19 or 20 when I
Uh-huh.
went to see him.
Mine was JJ Walker.
It was. That's a good one.
My
too.
mother took me to the Funny Bone in downtown
Uh-huh.
Atlanta, and she talked the club owner into letting me in because
Really?
I wasn't supposed to be there.
Uh-huh.
My mom never did anything before or after that with comics with me at all. I have no idea why
That's
she
really
decided
interesting.
to take me to see JJ Walker at the Funny Bone in Atlanta.
Amazing.
But yeah, I found like
did you love it? Do you
I
remember
did.
loving it? Yeah.
Yes, I remember being like, this is amazing. But I had been watching comedy on television with my
Right.
dad for years.
Right.
At that point, I was probably 11 or 12,
Yeah.
something like that. When
Yeah.
she took me 13, somewhere. in there.
Wow.
But yeah, I wonder, but it is a really specific kind of ear or eye to be
Mhm.
able to watch a live act and go
Mm-hmm.
move these
I'm
things
visual
around.
too, though. I'm like that's how I like, when I remember something, I see it. So that's why probably the
Mm.
list thing too. You know, it's the writing because
Maybe.
I'll see,
That's right.
you know what I
Maybe
mean?
so,
it
yeah.
might be like a visual learning thing.
It
that,
may
you
be.
know,
You may be right.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I do that. And then I've been with them for every special taping. I'm always
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And giving him notes. He tends to tape 4 shows so it can all be kind of cut together.
Yep.
So we'll talk about it after every show. But then after that, I don't travel again until he's got another hour kind of
coming up,
cooking, up and running.
I love that you're so involved. I bet he really appreciates that.
I think he does.
Yeah,
he seems to.
Yeah,
I am really involved. Actually, I really enjoy being involved in creativity.
Right.
And it doesn't need to be mine.
Right.
Like I don't need any credit. I don't need.
No, that's why I feel like it's the perfect job for me because I get to have be involved in that creative part of it, but not be the center of attention because I don't really want to be the center of attention.
Same. That's why I didn't want to really be an actress.
Yeah.
I like the creative part of it, of the figuring out why would this person say what they're saying at this moment to this person and why. I loved all that. Just don't make me do it in front of people. So I'll just let you do it.
Yeah.
So I guess it's the same thing with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's probably why we're good at being the wives.
I know, right? Right?
I'm totally fine with it.
Me
Be
too.
The center of attention.
Behind the scenes, bring it on. I'll take all the quirks.
Totally.
As Isla calls them, the perks of dad.
Yeah.
It's the perks of dad, these behind the scene things.
Do you think either of your girls will want to work in entertainment?
Nope.
No.
Nope. Not in front of the camera, no.
Yeah.
Isla actually is a really good actress. She acted like in just school plays and stuff. And her acting coach, teacher, drama, whatever, would always go, she is amazing.
Wow.
She's so naturally talented.
Yeah.
But, she's dyslexic. She struggles with learning lines.
Yeah.
And at that level, everybody wants you to say every word of everything.
Right.
When you're saying the Wizard of Oz, you have to say exactly what the wizard said.
Right.
And she just can't really do that.
Yeah.
She can, but it's very hard.
Right.
So it was too hard.
Yeah.
So if she had been in a place where she could just be like, and the wizard said,
right, let her improvise a little bit.
Yeah. Then I think she would have been great.
Right.
But, sometimes she talks about taking acting classes again, but Georgia definitely has no interest. No, I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia didn't end up podcasting or something.
Oh.
She's a really smart, insightful.
Georgia's the older one. Where is she? Is she away at school?
She's at school, yeah.
Where is she?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, you can't say it. Okay.
I'll tell you off this.
Visit it out of state?
Yeah, it's out of state.
I love that I'm whispering.
Is it out of state? Yes, it is out of the state of California. There are 49 possibilities.
There are?
Yes, but it is not this state. Yeah, she's out of state. I'll tell you later.
Okay,
but she doesn't want anybody to know.
No, I
and
understand.
we've been very, very good at not, or at trying at least, trying not to disclose
I could see
that.
my son being the same way.
Well, you know what's hard is that at that age, they want autonomy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not that she doesn't want to be her dad's daughter.
Yeah.
She wants to be her own person.
Yep.
And I think because he talks about them so much in his act, that there's less of an opportunity for her to be her own person.
I totally get that.
And, kids are stupid. As soon as she moved into the dorm, word got out where she was, and random kids were showing up.
Oh, that's such a bummer.
It's a bummer, and it made it hard for her to see who, from what I understand, and I may not understand it entirely, but from what I understand, she's only made friends with people who don't know who her dad is.
Oh, interesting.
So she's limited her possibilities of friend
groups. Yeah.
Because she's like,
she doesn't want to deal with it.
She doesn't want to deal with it. She just wants to be her own person. And I'm super understand and respect that. She's concerned that I was going to have a harder time because he's talked about Isla in a little more in depth. And Isla's a quirky kid, a funny, quirky kid. And he's talked about her a lot more.
Right.
So she seems to be a bit more known than Georgia is. And Georgia's real concerned. But yeah, it's been.
Does Isla care?
Yes, she does.
She does.
She has the same issue. Only friends with people who don't know who her dad is.
Yeah.
Always suspicious of anybody who asks about her dad before they ask about her.
Yeah.
Always suspicious of what's your agenda of everybody.
Isn't it a bummer?
It is a bummer. You know what's really interesting? She's in a great school. We love the high school she's in. It's really sweet. Everyone there is just regular folks, nice, normal, awesome people. And the other day I said, she's a junior. We're not changing schools. I just asked the question out of curiosity. I said, do you sometimes wish you'd gone to school where other famous people's kids were? And she went, yeah. And I was really surprised.
Because then that would be more normal.
Well, then No, she said because then less focus would be on her.
On her. Yeah.
Focus would be on,
Right.
Tom Cruise's daughter.
Right. Or whoever. Yeah.
This big star's daughter
Yeah.
instead of,
Yeah. And where we live, that could very well be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right down the street. There's
Yeah.
2 schools like 5 minutes from me
Yeah.
that are full of famous
Yeah.
people's kids.
Yeah.
And I thought she wouldn't want to be in that environment. She
Right.
chose her high school. It wasn't like I went, you'll be going here.
Yep.
She toured high schools and she
Yep.
chose it.
Yep.
But it was an interesting question, and I hadn't really thought about it like that. And I
Yeah.
felt really bad. I
Mhm.
feel really like, oh, that was a misstep on my part.
Yeah.
I should have thought and had that conversation.
but
I
isn't it
didn't
hard?
think. I just didn't think.
I know.
I didn't think like that.
Yeah.
I thought it would be great to go in a sweet place.
Right.
And she chose it.
Right.
And so I didn't go, oh, let me think about this
Right.
a different way.
Right.
And now if I had it to do over, I think I
But
would
nothing's
have.
perfect, right?
That's true.
And I do
True.
feel like we end up where we're supposed to.
That's also true. I believe that too.
Yeah.
I believe that too. So anyway, I don't know. I think it's different too being a girl. I think your son will have a little bit of an easier time.
Yeah.
Georgia walked into a party once and overheard this boy say, literally, where's Georgia Chrysler? I'm going to fuck the famous out of her.
Ew.
And she heard him.
Ew.
And she was really freaked out and left the party.
Understandable.
So
Ugh.
I don't know that a girl would say that about a boy. And it wouldn't be
I don't
threatening
think
if
so.
she
Yeah.
did. He would be like, I'm so scared of you.
I mean, that just made me like sick to my stomach.
It made me so
Yeah.
angry.
Yeah.
I told Bert about it and he was like, we need to find out who that kid is and like publicly shame him. And
Yeah.
obviously we're not going to do
Yeah,
that.
I know. But it's just, also, it's just, I don't know. What made him think that that's an okay thing to say, but whatever.
I'm sure he
guess.
was trying to be cool. And I'm sure he
Yeah.
didn't really mean it.
Yeah.
He was talking shit to a bunch of boys,
Right.
which is what boys do. I get that.
Yeah.
In the world of hashtag Me Too, I
Yeah.
understand that boys talk trash. It's locker room talk.
Right.
And locker room talk 9 times out of 10 goes nowhere.
It's BS. Yeah.
It's just stupid.
Yeah.
But it's unfortunate that she heard it.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that it's in the world.
Yeah.
But
For sure.
doubly unfortunate that she heard it. And now she's like, well, I'm never going to that house.
Does
again,
she date? Is she old enough to date yet?
She is old enough to date and she does date. Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Is that weird?
yeah, it is
weird for Bert?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is weird. I mean, it's weird because she's still my little girl.
Yeah.
And even though I know that this is the next step,
Right.
and I'm happy for her to be here,
Right.
it's weird though, not in the way I thought it would be weird.
Mhm.
It's only weird in that I think in the direction she's going is
Mhm.
not the direction I would have predicted.
Oh, interesting.
So
you mean with her type?
yeah, with her type,
Oh, okay.
where I go, oh wow, I would have pegged you for something entirely
Oh,
different.
isn't that funny?
Yeah, so that makes me feel like I don't know her.
Right.
It makes me feel off balance
Right.
in my connection with
But maybe
her.
she's still figuring that
Oh,
out.
she's
too,
100%.
You know? Yeah.
Listen, some of the people I dated, I'm sure my dad was like, what the hell are you doing?
Oh my gosh.
You know?
Yeah.
So I get it,
Yeah.
but still I go, I don't know who she is.
Yeah.
Who is this person? Wait a minute. I've lost touch. I've
Yeah.
lost touch. And that's,
Yeah.
I know in reality. I know in my brain that's not what's going on.
But your emotion, yeah.
Yeah, but I go, oh my God, I'm losing her. Yeah, this transition to college has been, it's been interesting. I expected when she first left, I was not very emotional about it. I
Mhm.
thought, this is awesome. I'm so happy for her.
Yeah. It's
This is where she
exciting.
She's
Yeah.
so happy there.
Mhm.
She loves it.
Mm-hmm.
She's really figuring things out. And then when she went back after Christmas, I've been kind of a little bit of a mess.
Oh, you have?
I have.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I think that we were all just so excited with the beginning
Mm-hmm.
that now that we've had Christmas break,
And it's really set in.
it's real.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know when I'm going to see her again.
Yeah.
I may not see her till summer.
Yeah.
And so,
Oh, see, I'm dreading it. I mean, I know I still have several years, but I'm dreading it.
yeah, I think you won't need to prepare for it, I think, like some people, because you have this busy, full life
Yeah.
that doesn't have much to do with
Yeah.
him. And I do too.
Yeah.
And I think that's why in the beginning it was a lot easier.
Yeah.
But this time I've hit this kind of like a missing her that's really different than it was
Yeah.
before. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
I always tell my husband, I go, when he goes away to college, if that's what he does, I hope he does, but
Yep.
who knows? I'm going to get a little dog and a stroller and be one of those people. And it's going to have a wardrobe.
I love it. It's a good plan. I love this plan, Melanie.
It'll be
plan.
a good distraction.
It's perfect.
A little fur
Perfect.
baby.
A perfect plan. Unfortunately, I have 6 fur babies already.
Oh, I have 2, but I'm
you
going to get a
do?
little one.
Oh, what do you have?
We have a big Bernese mountain dog.
Oh, they're the best.
Named Mavis. She's amazing.
They're great dogs.
I call her the mistress because
Oh, yeah.
she loves my husband.
Oh.
And then somebody was giving away a King Charles Cavalier where I get my hair done.
Yeah.
And I said, well, let me just take her and see if she gets along with my dog, you know?
Yeah.
And on my way home, I stopped and got her a collar with my name and phone number on it. And I brought her home and my husband goes, you got her a collar with a tag? And I go, well, what if she gets out or something over the weekend? We're just going to see how it goes. He goes, we're keeping this dog.
Oh, that's hysterical. Oh, I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm like a crazy dog person. I love them so much.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
dogs are the best.
They're the best.
They are so great. We have 3 dogs and 3 cats.
You do.
We do. We used
to have 3
chickens.
cats too.
You did?
Yeah, but they've all passed. And now I'm like, I don't miss the litter box,
Yeah.
you know? But I love my kitties.
So funny. I would choose a cat over a dog any day.
You would? Well, I
Yeah,
was always that
would.
way, and now I'm like a crazy dog person.
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't converted. I love
No?
my dogs.
Yeah.
But if you asked me which would you prefer, it's the cat.
What do you have? Tell me all of them.
Well, I have a calico.
You do.
She's in the yard. She
Okay.
just showed up one day and never left.
Stayed.
Just
Mhm.
stayed. Isla has an emotional support cat.
She does.
Isla has some serious sleep anxiety.
Oh.
And the therapist was like, let's try some medication. I was like, let's try something else first.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, you could get her a pet for her room.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, she has a huge room. It's like my studio apartment in New York.
Amazing.
Cat. So she has a cat named Frankie. She is a black and gray tabby.
Oh, cute.
And then we have an orange with white socks.
Aww.
Gus, he's 16. He's the old man.
Aww.
And then we have Mona, who is a
Mhm.
terrier mix. She's about 10 pounds.
Mhm.
Much like your story, I was, quote, fostering her. And then Bert had a fit and was like, wow, this is a shit dog. This is a rat dog. Nobody wants this dog. And by the end of the weekend, he was like, clearly we're keeping the
Your
dog.
yeah.
And then we have 2 bull mastiffs.
Aww.
And they're awesome.
Oh, they're amazing. What are their names?
Izzy and Mac.
Oh, that's good.
Izzy is a brindle
uh-huh.
and Mac is red. And
And
Mac is not a real dog. I
No.
think he might be a cartoon.
really?
Yeah.
What does he do?
He's just not real. He's just his head
Uh-huh.
and his feet.
Gigantic.
And he just
How
does
much does he weigh?
158
Oh, he's
pounds.
big boy.
He's big.
Yeah.
He's big.
Yeah.
And Izzy's beautiful and really fun and really sweet. And Mac is just like a cartoon
I
character.
love him.
Mac is Bert in
Really?
dog form. Yeah.
Oh, that's really
in
funny.
dog form. Suspicious of new people.
Uh-huh.
What's your agenda?
Oh.
And then needs someone to be touching him at all times. If
Wow.
possible. If you are in the room with that dog, you have to pay
be
attention to
to
him.
him. That's really funny.
So he's Bert in a dog
That's
suit.
really funny.
Big head.
Big-
Same as Bert. Big head, big feet, big boy.
Yeah, that's too funny.
Anyway,
Which one rules the roost?
that's an interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
Mac is the lowest on the totem pole.
Okay.
Mona used to rule the roost, but
Mhm.
Mona is kind of really old. She's
Mhm.
16. She's
Yeah.
deaf. She's blind in one eye.
Oh, yeah.
So they definitely respect her,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know that she rules the roost anymore. I think
Mhm.
Izzy does.
Oh, okay.
And the cats don't interact with each other,
They don't.
but Gus interacts with the dogs. And
Yeah, I
he's
had a
cool.
cat, Lulu, and she was that way. Like she could lay on top of our dogs and
Yeah.
sleep on top of them. I think she thought she was a dog.
Yeah,
And she would come when you called her,
Gus is the
and
same.
she was at your feet constantly, like
Gus,
a dog.
Yeah, Gus would play fetch.
Yeah.
I would throw a binder clip across the room and he'd bring it back to
Back.
me and drop it and then throw
Aw,
it for
that's
hours
amazing.
and hours. He used to do that.
That's super cool.
So I think he's kind of a dog too.
yeah.
But Frankie lives in Isla's room
Mm-hmm.
and Frankie's super happy for anyone
Does
concerned.
Frankie ever come out?
She does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we let her out and let her roam around. We
Yeah.
make sure everybody's in their own territory
Yeah.
and let her roam around.
So she
But-
doesn't get freaked out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and she's fine.
Yeah.
She's
And do you
super
keep
laid
them in the house, the cats?
Gus is indoor, outdoor.
Okay.
Frankie stays in the house.
Yeah.
And then Shirley is the yard cat.
Okay.
Shirley just showed up.
Do you ever get coyotes down here?
We do. I
Yeah.
put Shirley in the garage every night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
she lives in the garage.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she's roamed, like you probably saw her or you will see her on the way out. She's a white
Okay.
calico. She's so sweet.
Oh, I'll have to say hi.
I know. Any big thing that you want to achieve that you haven't yet?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Do you want
Ooh.
someone in a superhero movie? Is there anything that's like pie in the sky you haven't gotten yet?
Well, I mean, I would love, I've had so many shows in development over the years and nothing that has stuck. I mean, that's the dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Yeah. That would be great on a lot of
great
levels.
for like multiple people for that to happen.
Yes. Isn't that so frustrating?
It is. It's so frustrating.
But it is part of it.
And they put so much work and heart and soul. And a lot of the time it's based on their lives and, that kind of stuff. But again, I have that protective mechanism. I just don't get too excited until it's done.
Is it protective or is it wise?
I think it's wise.
It's wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a young man, like I remember, have you ever gone to the Just for Laughs Comedy Festival in Montreal?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So I had a client and it's like my first year of managing and he was going up as a new face. And he got up there and he just bombed.
Oh.
And I'm in the back of the theater bawling.
Oh, no.
For him.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I can't, I've got to have like a thicker skin.
Yeah.
Like I remember having that talk with myself after that,
Right.
like you can't.
How heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking,
That would be heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh, God bless him.
Yeah.
Because anybody listening, that's a big deal.
It's a big
The
deal.
Montreal Just for
especially
Laughs.
when you're young.
Yes.
Like that's a lot of the time their big break. Like they get an agent out of it. Used to people got deals, development deals with big networks, and stuff like that. So it was a big deal.
Yeah, because all the industry goes to that.
Yeah.
So you're
in one place.
It's like a
and people are
showcase
wanting
almost.
to like make,
Yes.
do it, moving and shaking,
It's a really important moment.
really
in time
important
that would
moment.
kill me.
And it did not go well.
Did that person recover and do well?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. And then they do a couple sets. And the second set later, a couple days later ended up being much better. But I was bawling.
Yeah.
For him.
Yeah, poor guy.
I know.
Oh.
I know. I know.
Well.
So, a little thick skin. It's good for you.
Goes a long way.
It does go a long way.
It goes a long
It does
way.
go a long way.
It does to be married to a comic too. Have a little bit of a thick skin.
Well, and we know, I know all their emotions and what they're going through. And I think that is helpful.
It is helpful. It is helpful. Now, what do you think the most important thing? I think you've already answered this question, but I'm going to ask it again anyway.
Okay.
What do you think is not just being married to Brian, but for a woman to be married to a comic? What do you think they have to have innately?
Well, I think, one, I think we have to have a bit of a thick skin too. I've never put stipulations on what Brian could talk about. Fortunately, I feel like he's always been very respectful of our relationship. And I mean, he talks about me a lot in his act. And I haven't, years ago, there was one thing where I'd literally sweat when he would say it on stage because it was so offensive and not true. And I'm like, people are going to think this is true.
Right. I've had experiences like that too.
Literally, even now I like get warm, But I would never want to stifle him and make him feel like he can't talk about things if he thinks they're funny. And I know a lot of people that would probably have issues with that. And you may disagree with me.
No,
also,
I don't. No, I have one rule. I have two rules. If you're going to talk about me, it has to be funny.
Well,
and I can't look like a horrible person or a bitch or an asshole.
Yeah.
Unless you're saying that and it's funny. You can't make me really look like that because I'm not.
Yeah. But would he do that though?
He had a joke once where I was like, I don't like the woman you're talking about.
Right.
And the woman you're talking about is me.
Right.
So the character of me on the stage in this story, I don't like. And your wife, don't like that.
Right.
So that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, and then he just made just a slight adjustment in like the words he was using and it changed everything.
So simple, right?
So I don't have any problem with him talking about anything.
Yeah.
But same thing.
Yeah.
I just can't. I just don't want to be misrepresented to the point where I'm not who I actually am.
I am. Yeah.
I mean, he has a joke where he calls me cunto because of how I deal with the gardener,
right.
which is not true. I don't ever deal with anybody like that. But the way he wrote it is so funny
yeah.
that I go, well, you have to keep that.
And, you know, and I say that too. And like I said, I feel like I've been very fortunate because, you know, Brian has never done anything. I may feel different if he did something that really, you know, pissed me off and made me look like a horrible person.
Right. Right. I think when you're married to a comic, I think you have to be really patient because they process the world differently than other people, which is what makes them a comic. So to expect them to process the world like everybody else is
unrealistic.
And, you know, that unrealistic expectation leads to unhappiness.
Yeah.
So to be able to, if you're falling in love with a comic, to be able to see them as who they are.
Yes.
And love that.
Totally agree with you. And I say that all the time, you know, because like I said before, Brian and I are very different people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, and I think you touched on this too. I'm very neat and tidy and he's a total slob. But I had a conversation with myself when we decided to move in together. Like, this is what you're getting and this is who he is and that ain't going to change.
Yeah.
So, and just because you're this way doesn't mean that it's the right way for everybody.
Yes.
You know, so I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it drives me fucking crazy.
Right.
When I'm picking up underwear, you know, off the bathroom floor for the 100th time.
Yes. You're my doppelganger. I've said this exact same thing.
But I'm not going to write him about that because that's who he is. And I knew what I was getting into. He didn't hide it. He didn't act like he was this super tidy, you know, organized person.
Yeah. There was no bait and switch.
There was no fooling.
Yeah. I had the same conversation with myself. I had to say to myself, eyes wide open.
Yeah.
And you can't ask him to change. No. That's not fair.
It ain't going to happen anyway.
No. Yeah. And it's not fair. What you're doing is you're saying, I only love this part.
Exactly.
And unless you change this part, I'm not loving the whole thing. You got to, warts and all.
Exactly.
You got to be in for warts and all.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that being able to see someone, and it applies not just to comics. You'd be able,
I think that's good relationship advice.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Your plumber husband may also leave his underwear on the floor. Right. Which you knew when you got in there. So what are you going to do?
Yeah. And really, like, don't sweat the small stuff. You know what I mean? Really, in the big scheme of things, is that what's important?
Yeah.
No. What's important is that, you know, you have the same goals in life and the same values and that you're kind to each other and that you like each other and that you have each other's back. That's what's important.
That's absolutely right.
You know,
super simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. People forget and they get caught up in all that crazy stuff, you know, that's really not important in the big picture.
Right.
Yeah.
And you didn't put your dish in the dishwasher again.
Yeah. And he will do anything I ask him to do. I just have to ask him to do it.
I don't really have that.
Yeah.
I have it a little bit.
I mean, every time.
Yeah.
You know, I'd have to be like, would you please pick up your underwear on the floor? Yeah. He'll do it, but they'll be there again tomorrow.
Yeah. That's the same. That's the same. Same. And sometimes he'll go, yeah. I'm just going to do this one thing first.
Yeah. I get that too. Like the trash.
I know. Like, you're like,
but I also try not to do that too much either, just because I don't want to be that. I don't want to bitching about something all the time.
Me neither. You know what my perspective was when we were first married is, why would I ask him to do something that he's not here to do on the regular?
Yeah.
Like, I take out the trash because I take out the trash when he's not here.
Yeah.
So yes, it's nice when he takes out the trash and when I ask him and he does it, awesome. But am I going to get my panties in the wad for the 2 days he's home because I asked him to take out the trash? Or am I just going to keep taking out the damn trash?
Right.
It's not that.
It takes 5 seconds.
And I do it anyway.
Yeah.
I'm already doing it. Yeah. It's not like my load lightens that much when he comes. So just keep doing the shit you're always doing. And then the system can keep running. You know?
Yeah. That's really good.
I've always thought of it like that. That way I'm not resentful, angry, blaming him.
Exactly.
I feel unseen, not taking care of me.
Yeah.
When that's not his wheelhouse.
No.
And that's not how this life we have together is set up.
Yeah.
We're not set up for that.
No.
So.
Yeah.
I get lots from him.
Yeah.
It's just not the garbage.
Yeah. Me too.
It's
Same.
not that.
Yeah.
Well,
Same.
I'm so glad that you
I'm
came
so glad.
today.
Can we hang out?
Please. I would love it.
I know we're both super busy, but
Yes, I would love it. I would love to hang out.
I was like, we're totally could be friends for
we
sure.
100%.
Yeah.
We are very similar.
Yeah.
Like my friend Sandy with the artistic outside the box.
Yeah.
Sometimes crazy. Oh, there is one thing I wanted to ask you about. I completely forgot.
yeah.
I'm sorry. And then we'll wrap it up. We have something in our house called reentry.
Okay.
It is when Bert comes home,
Mm-hmm.
when he's been gone for a long time. Like
Yep.
sometimes he has to do 2 weeks back to back.
Yep.
We have a period of adjustment
Mm-hmm.
where everybody kind of is a little off kilter.
Yep.
And then we settle in.
Yep.
Do you have that?
I feel like we had that a lot when my son was younger
Uh-huh.
because I was like, well, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you're coming in and screwing this up.
Yep.
I feel like now that he's older, it's a little bit better.
Uh-huh.
But there's definitely a little bit of that. And, my girlfriends that I was talking about whose husbands are in bands, they definitely have it.
Yeah.
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 Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend and I,
Mm-hmm.
our households have it.
Yeah.
And it is, I think to me, that might be the hardest part of being married
Yeah.
to Bert.
Mhm.
It is the reentry minute. Because when he's reentering, the things he's reacting to are not completely, they are mostly, he's reacting at 11 for something that's a 4.
Right.
And it's because he's not used to being in
Right,
like
in it.
regular life.
Yep.
And then it takes him about 36 hours to regulate.
Late. Mm-hmm.
And her husband is the same.
Mm-hmm.
When that 36 hours are not fun.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, I could go, achoo, and he'd go, what is that supposed to mean? And you're like, I had something in my nose.
Uh-huh.
What do you mean? Oh,
Yeah.
that's how you're going to talk to me? And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, we're having reentry.
Yeah.
We're just going to I'm just going to not take anything personally. I'm just going to let him unravel.
Yeah.
And then we'll be good.
Yeah.
And that happens.
Do you have exiting issue? Does he my husband will get anxiety before
Yes.
he's got to go.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's a bit of an adjustment too.
It is.
The first, couple 3 days before he's got to go.
So should we
Yeah.
call that launch?
Yes. Launch.
We have launch problems
Yes.
launching and we have
I like
reentry.
that. Yeah.
Because yes, he is a wreck,
Yeah.
especially if he's been home for a minute.
Yep.
He's been home for like a week
Yep.
and he's got to get,
Yep. Mine too.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely have that launch
Mhm.
problem.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't remember ever talking to my friend about launching. I'll have to
Mhm.
ask her when
Yeah.
we're going to work out tomorrow.
Yeah.
If she has
Ask
problems
her.
with launch. I will, because I'd be
I bet you
interested
she
to know.
does.
Because reentry, our two people,
Mhm.
Bert and her husband, you can almost
Mirror.
I can almost write out what's going to happen before he gets home.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every time.
Interesting.
And she's the same. She's like, here's what's going to happen. He's
Uh-huh.
going to do this. He's going to have a problem with this. He's going to get mad because I went to Trader Joe's instead of Ralph's.
Uh-huh.
And I have to explain to him I went to Ralph's because Trader Joe's is out of the way and it'll still be a problem.
Right.
And we both know who gives a fuck where the grocery
Right.
store is. Let's come on,
Right.
That's what we're going
not
to be
really
dealing with.
what it's about.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's about you being uncomfortable with how things are in
Yeah.
this moment and shifting from being the boss
Yeah.
to not being the boss
Yep.
entirely, from being a boss to a partner
Yep.
and having to communicate
Yep.
instead of bossing people.
Yeah.
And I don't just show up with Starbucks in the morning.
Have you ever? Wouldn't say this necessarily about my husband, but I've known other comedians that because they're so used to going, and then when they're not, it's not good. Like they freak out.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they don't know what to do with themselves
Yeah.
because they're so used to this,
Pace.
Pace.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think that's starting to happen with Bert.
Bert. Yeah.
Yeah. He's been going so much for so long now. For the
Yeah.
past year, maybe, he's been really, really not really having days off, not
Mhm.
much. That it takes him, the reentry is different,
Mm-hmm.
but not never, but it's harder for him to get just regular,
Right.
like regulated.
Yeah.
But he's also not home enough
For that to happen.
for that to happen.
Right.
So he was off in the summer for 6 weeks
Mm-hmm.
and it was tough for more than 36 hours,
Mm-hmm.
but probably only like 3 or 4 days for
Mhm.
him to start unwinding.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was good. He was okay.
Yeah.
He can get back into that pace
Right.
of like, what's for dinner?
Right.
But Yeah, I think it is. I would imagine it would be very hard to go from a world where
100%.
everything is what you want.
Yep.
You walk on stage and
Yep.
thousands of people erupt in explosions. You're the funniest guy in the room. And, you know, your assistant shows up with Starbucks
Everybody's
before you're
catering
awake.
to you. Yeah.
And your wife is like, can you roll over? You're snoring.
Yeah.
You know? you could probably use a shower. I mean, come on. Can you pick Isla up at 4 because I'm getting my nails done? And he's like,
totally.
what? I would imagine that would be very hard.
It would. Absolutely, it would.
Really hard.
Yeah. Because it's a whole other world, you know?
Whole other world.
Yeah.
That's not reality.
Yeah.
But it is his reality.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember that.
Yeah.
For me, it's
Yeah.
hard to remember that. But I think also that's part of what is important for Bert.
Yeah.
Is he comes home not to some doty wife who's, you know,
Right.
you know, just all about his
Right. Every whim.
Yes.
Yeah.
that I'm like, no. I've been working as hard as you are. I'm just not on the road.
Yeah.
And I'm working for you.
Yeah.
So get your own Starbucks.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
And he does.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what keeps him
Oh,
coming.
I would think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
They need that. Everybody does.
Everybody does.
You know, you don't want a world. I mean, I've seen that happen too.
Yeah.
Where everybody kisses your ass.
Yeah.
You know, it's not good. You need at least one person in your life that's not going to do that. And it's going to be real with you. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I wish there were more people in the world of business that were willing to.
I try to be that way with my clients
that is a gift.
because I think it's really important.
It's really important.
You know?
I just said to big team not long ago,
yeah.
I'm the only one willing to be the asshole.
Yeah.
And I can't be the only one willing to be the asshole.
Yeah.
Somebody else needs to be the asshole sometimes. Because guess what? I'm married to the guy.
Yeah.
So could you be the asshole
Please?
for once and say,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
we can't do that.
Yeah.
No, because everyone will just do what he says. And then I'm the
Yeah.
one going, excuse me,
Yeah.
excuse me,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
need someone else to be the asshole
To back
sometimes.
you up. Yeah. No, that's totally understandable. But I'm also, I mean, he's probably really grateful to have that in you. You know what I mean?
He is. He doesn't always
Yeah.
listen to me, which is a problem.
Yeah, whatever.
But-
you know, but still, at least it's in there.
It is. It's
You
out.
know?
It's out there.
Yeah.
I don't keep it in there.
Yeah. I meant for him.
Unfortunately.
I meant for him.
Oh, for him.
Yeah.
Yes. No. Unfortunately for me, I get my ass in trouble constantly by going, no one returned my email.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to answer this question without an email? What
Yeah.
are you doing? And then, you know,
Yeah.
why would you talk like that? Because no one returned my fucking email.
Yeah.
It's not brain surgery.
It's not.
simple math.
It is.
I ask, you answer.
Yeah.
Even if the answer
And
is
it's like
I don't
common
know.
courtesy. Come on.
Totally.
Yeah.
Anyway, I could talk to you all day.
I
We should
know.
because I know you're busy and so am I. So we should wrap it up. It's so
yeah.
nice to meet you.
That's so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. Halston's been how long, Halston? Have you been saying I should have you as a guest? A long time. And I
That's
keep
so
going,
sweet.
let's do it. And
That's
then
so sweet.
just things kept coming in front of it. So we made it happen. I'm so
glad.
Me
It's
too.
really a pleasure to meet you.
It was.
And thank you for making me feel so comfortable. Really appreciate it.
Well, it's easy to talk to yourself.
right? I had no idea.
I know. I think we are actually the same cloth.
For
cut
sure.
from the same cloth.
For sure.
And it's so nice to meet someone else who is cut
Yeah,
from the same cloth.
It is.
It's lovely.
It is.
So thank you so much.
Thank you, too.
Yeah. I'll see you again soon.
Okay.
Yes.
Sounds good.